As the defendant saw that his ship was sinking, his strategy seemed to be firm and clear. Make a judge believe that I was never abused, that the blood and bruises in my photo were photoshopped, that the witnesses to the crime were just some friends who decided to follow me, and that I had made it all up with my acting talents to get a benefit as an immigrant. To reinforce that strategy, he made good on all his threats and used his connections in order to close my doors, provide false testimonies, attack my reputation, my career, and indirectly attack my immigration status to cause my deportation from United States if possible. When I was a child, I used to see my father leading theater groups. He was a very exemplary master of the performing arts, Mr. Freddy Braco. He used to tell me that when I was a baby, I was already part of his plays. I grew up admiring a respectful, passionate, disciplined, honest, and kind-hearted man. I admired how he wrote plays with positive social message and how he created beautiful connections with his students. His students adored him for his humanism, for his dedication, and for all his joy. He cared for them, counseled them, and protected them. He was more than a teacher, he was a mentor that left a very deep impression on me. But over the years, I understood that not all leaders in the artistic world are like that. Today, I feel very grateful for all the opportunities that have presented themselves in my life, in my journey, in my artistic career, and in entertainment and music industry. Because really dancing with great artists, acting in soap operas, and achieving great accomplishments as a talent gave me the financial fuel to help my family in Venezuela. And I don't deny it. It has required effort, many auditions, sacrifice, late nights, professionalism, and a few disappointments. When I arrived in Miami in 2014, I came with no expectations. Before long, I was already accomplishing many wonderful things on my own. But little by little, the dream that brought me here was greatly overshadowed by the difficult circumstances I went through. As the legal battle of my violence case progressed, many people started talking behind my back and retaliating against me. Even people who didn't even know me. I got a lot of rumors, but very few people spoke to me face to face. Many didn't agree with me raising my voice against violence. They felt it was inappropriate for me to go on TV shows to speak out and inspire others to break the chains of violence. To some, I seemed dramatic and showy. To others, it didn't seem right that I was wearing makeup to interviews. It seemed for them to stage it, to fake. Maybe because their eyes didn't contemplate when I was beaten or witnessed all the mistreatment that today I'm having the courage to tell. They simply didn't believe it, or maybe they didn't want to believe it. I knew that for many years, women in the entertainment industry and the world have been subordinated, subjugated, while the predator is adored, the victim is banished. But times have been changing, little by little. Society often wonders why women sometimes don't denounce their aggressors. Simple. Very soft laws, threats, fears, or a society that prefers to believe, support, and validate the aggressor while attacking, demoralizing, and discrediting the victim. After experiencing it firsthand, I could see it clearly. At that time, many questions were going through my head. Would I have to leave the remains of dried blood on my face in order to be able to speak out on TV? Sometimes it is confusing for us to understand society. If you show something explicit, they don't like it. And if you hide it, cover it up, and keep it quiet, they don't like it either. In the end, what seemed to bother them was that a woman decided to break her chains and shout to the world without being shy about it, saying no to violence, wherever it comes from. One thing I learned from Brandon Burchard is that great men and women don't give a damn if anyone approves. They rarely seek permission from the world because they know that the masses bound by mediocrity will never approve of anything that breaks convention or smacks of boldness and magic. And denouncing is part of that. I decided at that time to avoid confrontation. I ignored many attacks even when they were very direct, unfair, and outrageous. I transformed all that into positive energy to open my own path. And today that I have more knowledge on the subject, I realized that I did just what specialists recommend to do when going through these disputes with narcissists. Not to respond, not to fall into provocations. But today I'm in another state of mental clarity, and I feel in my heart that silence makes me part of the problem, because thanks to the actions that many have taken against me for having the courage to denounce, today there are women and dancers who are afraid to denounce and speak out. They are afraid to tell of the crimes they experienced within the industry, the abuses, the inappropriate touchings, the rapes, and all for fear of being shut out. I am a true believer that women should be respected, not censored or attacked for expressing the truth. Maybe you have thought that in this side of show business everything is lights, camera, action, dancing, travel, tours, and fame. But no, there are deep layers contaminated by a lot of negative energy, envy, bad intentions, outrages, and a lot of toxic competition that sometimes we have to put up with. As you know, my fear of losing many of my job opportunities was born out of the constant threats I received from him. He would threaten to use his connections and contacts to close doors on me. It was then that I was trapped in that abusive relationship, both personally and professionally. And it is funny how those who abuse feel superior, in control, powerful, and respected, in this case by the entertainment industry. And of course, how can you not feel that way if you receive the support of many people when trying to get away with a crime? When I reported him to the justice system, unfortunately, he followed through with his threats. And you know what was really sad? To see with my own eyes people with some kind of power in the entertainment and music industry protecting and supporting those who abuse women. Many consciously or unconsciously. Some were even part of my violence case and lied under oath to accuse me of committing illegal acts and attack my work visa and immigration status. Yes, just like that. For a long time, I wanted to deny this reality, but this is really what happened. For me, everyone who was involved is an accomplice to a crime as well, because thanks to their actions and false testimonies, he could have circumvented justice and come out innocent. I have asked myself, why do they protect or support predators? Why do they commit actions that completely violate the codes of ethics and conduct in the workplace? Because of these questions, I have decided to make this public announcement and to mention the actions and the people who were involved in my case of violence. And the purpose of this is that you can see the situations that women go through when we take the courage to denounce. Therefore, I want to make a call for ethics, conscience, values, and women's safety inside and outside the entertainment industry. I want to start with someone I trusted blindly, both my talent and my immigration status. An extremely talented person, owner of a very well-known agency in Miami called LC Talent. His name is Leo Chavez. At the beginning of this story, in episode 2, I told you that he was my agent, the sponsor of my work visa in the United States. That visa didn't require him to provide me with employment opportunities, no, but without an agent or a sponsor, it wasn't possible for me to acquire that visa. For that reason, I'm very grateful to him for being my sponsor. Yeah. However, during the legal battles, Leo Chavez made a letter where he annulled the contract we had and his participation as a sponsor. But he never communicated it directly to me or to my immigration lawyer. I received this through my lawyer, the one in charge of my domestic violence case, and came to my lawyer through none other than the defendant's lawyer to be used as evidence against me. And the intention was obvious, to help and support during the legal battles the one who had beaten me, so that he and his lawyers could make me look to the judge and the press as an immigrant who was working illegally in the United States. This was an indirect attack on my immigration status and my work visa, which was still valid for a year and a half. In this way, they reinforced the absurd theory that I had invented a case of violence because I was supposedly desperate to fix my immigration status and obtain a so-called temporary victim visa. Maybe you're asking yourself, what is a victim visa? Okay, let me explain. There is a type of temporary visa for people who are victims of a crime in the United States, whether it is violence or human trafficking. The victim could qualify for a 4-year visa. It is like a kind of compensation for having the victim's help in the investigation of the crime. I had no idea about this. Actually, I found out about it while I was being accused of taking advantage of it. At the time, I was extremely shocked, because my contract with LC Talent was still in effect. I had paid all my visa fees on my own, and there was never a compelling reason for my agent to do something like that. We never had a problem, nor a misunderstanding. In fact, By that time, I was waiting for LC Talent to pay me some professional fees I was owed. It was a very unethical, unprofessional, and treacherous move. He did all of this knowing that his actions could cause me to end up unjustly behind bars, or could result in my deportation for allegedly working illegally in the United States. This caused me to have severe nervous breakdowns and caused me to spend more money on lawyers to make sure that my visa would not be affected. Luckily, his letter didn't have enough validity in the eyes of immigration law. Beyond all of this, speaking human to human, this broke my heart because I blindly trusted this person and his company. The funny thing is that if there is someone who generates money for his agency, is a woman. And well, one expects to be protected and safeguarded by her agency, by her sponsor, especially in the face of a crime. While he acted in this way, I thought of that saying I always heard from my grandmother when I was a child: do good and don't look at whom. So I responded with the opposite, with the gratitude. I got him a $2,000 contract and asked him to keep the money he owed me so I could pay him back for the signature he once gave me when he decided to be my agent. He never asked me, but I wanted to do it. I felt it was the best way I could respond to him. In the midst of the legal battles, Amnesty International wanted to support me and proposed me to a human rights campaign. The focus was on domestic violence and the rights we naturally have over our bodies. I was very committed to my fight and to the cause, so I didn't hesitate for a second and accepted. I wanted to carry a message to all women, and if you have been following me since that moment, you know it. Amnesty International is a global movement of more than 10 million people who take injustice seriously and are present in more than 150 countries. Their mission is to see human rights recognized and respected. I was happy to be able to inspire more people through a campaign to raise awareness of this issue. However, what I received from my colleagues wasn't pleasant at all. In the previous episode, I exposed that Juan Carlos Garcia, known in the industry as Juanqui, testified against me in court for the purpose of strengthening a motion against me. They wanted to claim that the defendant wasn't dangerous to me. At the trial, we showed a video in which Juanqui, Sherhan, and two other dancers seemed to be making fun of the campaign I was doing with Amnesty International. This gentleman found it amusing and funny that the defendant was becoming famous for being on TV for beating a woman. I found it hard to believe, honestly, but their mockery was very obvious, so much so that this video was sent to me by many people who felt very indignant. And let's remember that 1 out of every 3 women has suffered physical, sexual, or psychological violence. It seemed like they were making fun of an issue that hundreds of women die from every day. I wondered, how far is the lack of empathy lack of compassion, and stupidity capable of going. Hundreds of people take their lives every day because of bullying. Why make fun of the abuse of a woman? What do you think? Do you think they would laugh the same if the abused woman had been one of their relatives, a sister, a cousin, or their mothers? It hurts me because they were my colleagues, and what was in their hearts, I have no idea. However, today I send them love and a lot of light to illuminate their actions, so I hope they are acting differently today and are more aware of the impact and damage their actions can cause to a human being. On the other hand, there was a person who also committed what is called perjury, lying under oath to support the defendant. This lie in the trials was uncovered. His name, Juan Garcia Lebron. Let me tell you, at the April 2015 Billboard Awards, I was dancing for singer Farruko. At that time, Juan Garcia Lebron was the right hand of his choreographer, Danny Lugo. In that affidavit, Juan accused me of having told him at those awards that I had every intention of inventing a complaint of harassment and violence to obtain residency papers in the United States. This was totally false. You can't get a residency for being abused, but yes, you can get a visa. Again, this was the narrative they invented to try to make a crime committed go unpunished. And for that, they used the only professional ties they had with me. Not to defend him, no, but to attack me. The reality is that at the time my permanent artist residence was already in process. Today I have it with me. There has never existed in my immigration record absolutely nothing processed for a victim visa. But again, that was the story they claimed to divert attention from the crime. Likewise, if any immigrant decides to apply for a victim visa, seek justice and a better quality of life, that doesn't make her a criminal or doesn't deserve to be attacked. The truth behind that false testimony is that 7 months before the crime, during those Billboard Awards, I told Juan Lebron that I was afraid, that I felt persecuted, that the harassment, manipulations, and mistreatment of the defendant made me nervous. I even found it hard to concentrate in the rehearsals. It was sad to ask for help from my boss's right-hand man and for him to show false empathy and interest in my life. At that time, he even spoke badly about the defendant and asked me to be careful. Like him, several expressed their negative opinions about the defendant. However, after I legally and publicly denounced him, everything turned into a direct attack against me and in defense of the person who mistreated me. Some declared that I never had traces of blows on my face. Others alleged that I was going to invent a case of violence to get papers, which is a crime. And other one made an attempt against my visa. It was the ideal cover-up for the case. I have long wondered why they felt the need to be part of a case of violence against women using the only professional ties they had with me to make such false claims. Was that the price I had to pay for denouncing an abuser, a predator? Who knows? This has been questions on my mind all these years. I didn't understand why they were advocating for a person who violates women, especially when he has a previous history of violence. I didn't understand why they make it so hard for us to fight for justice and for a right to feel safe. I wish I was wrong, but I can interpret this as misogyny within the entertainment industry. As the defendant saw that his ship was sinking, his strategy seemed to be firm and clear. Make a judge believe that I was never abused, that the blood and bruises in my photo were photoshopped, that the witnesses to the crime were just some friends who decided to follow me, and that I had made it all up with my acting talents to get a benefit as an immigrant. To reinforce that strategy, he made good on all his threats and used his connections in order to close my doors, provide false testimonies, attack my reputation, my career, and indirectly attack my immigration status to cause my deportation from United States if possible. He also accused me of being a thief through social media, expressing that I had stolen works and choreographic creations from him. The reality behind this is that we both worked for an artist named Jay Alvarez, and he, the artist, didn't want to be linked to actions of violence against women, so he decided not to work with the defendant anymore. When the defendant saw that I continued working for the artist and he didn't, he began to discredit me and defame me in the industry, something typical of narcissism. He publicly accused me of having stolen work opportunities and choreographic creations from him. The reality is that the artist had previously paid him a sum of money for all the choreographies, and he had every right to continue using any of these creations because they were mine too. These accusations were one of the many reasons why I won the defamation lawsuit. Today, I am very grateful to the artist and his wife, Maribel, for not tolerating violence. We need more people like them in the industry, definitely. By that time, I always kept in mind the principles I saw in my dad and reflected, why hurt someone who is possibly going through tough battles in life? Why? To what end? I believe wholeheartedly that inner essence shouldn't be present. The idea of sinking a colleague or an associate by defaming him or her with lies, let alone attacking a colleague with the purpose of shining more or destroying his or her reputation or career, that is a stolen shine. It is unnecessary because we all have a precious universal right, the right to shine. We all have a glow of our own. And that is what many don't understand, that what you make up about someone else says more about you than it does about the other. Today, I hope with all my heart that these people are aware of the damage they can cause to a person with their actions. I know we are human beings, we are imperfect, but we can choose to be good people. I also know that we can come to our senses, and recognizing our mistakes can be our greatest act of courage. Of course, absolutely everything I went through led me to understand what Berlin says. that the things that are really important in life come at a high price. Rebellion, ideals, freedom. And if my sin was to denounce and raise my voice, I would do it again 1,000 times. I expose my ideas and my values because I am willing to free myself and help others to do the same. If there is something that I'm sure of today, is that my voice will not be silenced again. Don't let yours be either. No matter how hard they try to destroy everything about you, there is something they can never destroy. Your truth. Your story. If you are going through or have gone through bullying, unfair, toxic, and abusive circumstances that make you lose your essence and leave you fears and insecurities within you, I would like to help you recognize and validate your story, your emotions, and your difficulties, because you are not alone. Go to the link in the description, maggalife.com/liberation, and get your masterclass and workbook. Is free. With love, Magdiel.